panel discussion with Professor Mathur. As Mr. Pava mentioned that he has been leaning on scientists across the world in building and working on technologies in that are futuristic, with working together in the academia and industry. While we have been talking a lot about it, in reality there is always a challenge that we find. So with your vast experience in the domain and working on several research projects, what do you think that academia can contribute to help in specifically this domain? Is there a need, and what can academia contribute? And what is they can do to work with industry to bring the market-ready solutions? I know I'm changing my question to you, Professor Mathur, but Mr. Pava has given a lot of food for thought, so I'm going to change some of the questions so we can have a lively discussion.
So thank you, Yash, and thank you very much, Pavasab, for setting up the tone. So I'll take a step back and share with you what academia, in my understanding, is supposed to do. So in research, there are two distinct areas as far as academia is concerned. One is called fundamental research, and another is called application research. Fundamental research is one in which the outcome directly as a product or product improvisation is not visible, usually. Whereas application research is something in which visibility of research is quite evident. Okay. Academia has responsibility of taking both the legs together. Because in application research, you find knowledge of fundamental research also. And fundamental research, unless it finds a path through application research, your research does not see light of day. Okay, so having this responsibility on academia, sometimes it is lack of infrastructure, which hinders and which blocks this thing. Sometimes it is lack of identification of correct problems from industry that industry is facing. So, unfortunately, in many academic institutions, as the situation is even worse than what you said. In many institutions, rather in most of the institutions, mechanical engineering department has vanished. Yes, that is one. Further, those institutions where mechanical department is there, BTech mechanical is offered, the mandatory course on refrigerant and air conditioning has vanished. It is an elective course, to the best of my knowledge, in most of the academic institutions. That's an unfortunate situation we are into. Having said this, if this is the situation, how do I see a good industry-ready research coming out of my academic institution? That's a big challenge. So that's why we always find in ASHRAE or other platforms that where is my academia? Whereas if we go to ASHRAE, I see a lot of professors coming from this university, that university, this and that, wherever. So we need to, some way, I don't know the solution, but we need to in some way address that, and then only we can expect industry-ready research outcome to be there. But yes, with whoever is present in this country doing research in academia, I would say expectations should at one stage stop where they have done some research and where they have a proof of concept. And that is where we should stop having our expectations from the academic institutions and then pass on that proof of concept to industry for converting that in a commercial product. Because the proof of concept is there, it is basically not in their area of competence to convert that proof of concept into a commercializable product. Once they do that, then of course validation, testing and all that thing can again come back to the academic institution and the spread of know-how and all that. So this is kind of dovetailing it. I identify my problems from industry, but that linkage has to be there and the trust has to be there. The facilities for carrying out the research, developing a proof of concept, prototyping and commercialization, leave it to the industry because they can do that much better. And that's how the entire cycle of innovation can be completed in my knowledge. Thank you.
So I'm going to continue on that thought and not letting you go so easily on that. I'm going to ask you a question saying, why is that not happening in India as much as we would like, as much as we would like to see in DST? What do you see is, and I have often found from personal experience, and I belong to academia, so I vouch for that I am party to this as well. But we find that the industry problems are not sufficiently understood, and whether it's an infrastructure or capability is not being able to deliver the kind of solution that industry is looking for. Would you agree with that? And if so, what would government and all of us have to do to change?
So, yes, frankly speaking, the fault lies largely with academia. I accept that honestly. And if you, many of my friends have asked me, why are you going so regularly to issue activities or issue activities? The reason is I identify the research problems for my students on these very platforms. In last 2 days, my sole objective was this only. But again, if all of my friends from academia start doing this, most of the industry problems would automatically go to the labs, and then solutions may come out of the labs. ISHRE needs to do that aggressively, engagement with academia. If we do it more aggressively, it should not just stop at opening a student chapter. Okay, unfortunately, in most of the institutes, sorry, I'm being very blunt, but it is happening so. So we are running a student chapter and we are satisfied with that. It has to go much beyond that. We need to focus more on what the faculty mentor is doing and how actively he is associated or he is motivated to carry out research related identifying industry problems. So we should kind of act as a bridge between the industry problems and identification of those problems or passing on those problems to the academia and then providing them support to find out a solution. Mike, please.
We need to hear from you.
Just to add to your point, I know that that's exactly what was happening, what you mentioned, that we were opening student chapters and we were happy with that. 15 days back, we did a faculty training program and we had 300 faculties in that. So we have taken the next step. So hopefully we'll have another next step also. And to add to that also, we have, like you said, we have to engage more with the student chapters. And we already have a program in the pipeline that the final year students which do projects, and those projects either go and sit in the gather dust in their homes or gather dust in some shelf in the college. We are doing a small exhibition in South and West where all the students will come and display their projects.
Kudos to your efforts in that direction.
To add to what Anup said, there is also a student poster competition that's happening at RefCode where the students' projects are going to be displayed in front of the industry. So building on what Dr. Mathur said, I'm going to go to Dr. Kole next, saying Dr. Kole, do you think the future initiatives of DST is there? As Mr. Pava said, DST plays an important role in actually planning for the future and helping all of us, move in a direction which is beneficial to the country. What are some of the initiatives that you are planning? Where do you see, as a policymaker, there are gaps? Do you find challenges with the industry, academia? Those are the two questions I'd like you to take up.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, very good afternoon to all. And thank you, ISRE, for inviting me as a panelist. So rightly said that DST actively working on this field. And if you see in the last 10 years, we have invested more than 15 million USD in building energy efficiency program. So we have supported more than 60 national and international institutes. Also, we have created many test beds and more than 50 energy efficiency technology come out from this program. And we are also working actively. If I give some example that I just take it, that last 10 years, we have GST supported India-US Center for Building Energy Research Development, CBRID project from 2014 to 17. Here, the objective was to develop proof of concept technologies for building energy efficiency with TRL 3 to 4. So, as you know, that DST has the mandate to support R&D. So this is the primary goal of DST to support R&D. Then after that, we also supported IFE project that is initiated 2016 to 2021. That is to catalyze technology development and enhance R&D infrastructure, TRL level 4 to 6. So then we can go beyond this TRL level. We have supported India-UK project that is supported 2017 to 2023. That energy demand reduction in built environment at a TRL level 5 to 7. So after that, then we go beyond TRL 7. That is all you know. That is very successful global cooling price, that is GCP. So that is concluded in 2019 to 22. That is aimed was to develop cooling technologies that drastically reduce energy use and cost effective with TRL 7 to 8. So giving this trajectory, that GST is supported from lower tier level to going to the upper higher tier level. Now it is clearly mandated to our higher ups also that GST will be supported for not only for our R&D but to deploy the technology. That's what we need the industry people to come up and give hand in hand with GST. We are very much committed that Austin mentioned that we are already supported to establish some testing facility, that university has a testing facility, and GST also committed to set up such kind of testing facility throughout India. So DST is very much active and supported, and we urge all the industry partners to come up to support this initiative to going to forward to the technology that is come up that should be deployable. So this is our mandate. So in our all the program right now, we make it very serious that not only the industry should come up, but industry should come up with some contribution. The skin in the game should be very necessary, so that very active participation is there, and this such way the technology which is will come up, it will be deployable. So we are very active, we are very optimistic to support all the industry and we have DST to come up with us and make it very deployable technology. It is not on the R&D initiative. Thank you.
A couple of thoughts with you. I don't know, because I'm involved in various bodies which are not HVAC, chambers of commerce, etc., and we study India in the context of our tigers around us. Tigers are what? China, Korea, Taiwan, Vietnam. They've been all tigers. Even Japan. And you've seen them how they came up 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. What was the drive of R&D there, and what got them there in R&D? They did many things, and I'm using the word many things, but amongst one of them was the government was fully supportive and incentivized R&D. The word is incentivized. In our country, there were finance ministry, finance secretary, what comes to his mind, he will do this. One day it came to their mind that we will rationalize and reduce the tax rate, but we will take away all the other concessions that were there. So with the baby, and they threw the baby with the bathwater outside the window. As a result of which, today there is no tax rebate on R&D that you spend. They may give you other support, but this is not DST's problem. It's the government of India's problem, finance ministry's problem. How you make a case for it. There is absolutely no incentive available under any tax monetary benefit. It's not like taking a grant, but how do you trigger that incentive? Am I correct in that? If I'm correct, please urge the finance ministry to look at this very seriously. All over the world, they incentivize the monies that you spend on R&D by your own means, and they give you tax concessions.
Yes, it is very much true, but probably all you know, now the R&D component that is recently just government declared the ANRF, Anusandhan National Research Foundation. So it is the huge kitty of 1 lakh crore. And that industry is a very active participant. So all the R&D initiative, it will come under ANRF. So I think, sir, through...
So the moment you regulate this and put under this umbrella, it becomes funneled and regulated. You have to give the freedom to those people who have the entrepreneurship to spend the money. Like Dr. Mathur was saying about R&D, there is applied and there is academic part. So I think R&D should be given a fillip. That 1 lakh crores, we've heard that. That's been announced. But in what way will the direct company which is investing in R&D be incentivized to carry out more R&D? Or they have to go through a lot of paperwork to be part of that big umbrella?
Thank you, sir. So that's a great point. I'd leave you with that thought, Dr. Kole, and so we can go to the, to Kshamaji. You have been one of the beacons in MSME domain and looking specifically from the chillers part. What I would like to, put this get your inputs, and I asked this question to you earlier, and I'm going to repeat it, is that if you have a magic wand in your hand, and if you want certain support to come up and leapfrog the technology in the chiller domain and the other domains that you are working on, what would you need from Department of Science and Technology and academia to actually make that happen? What are the barriers and how can other stakeholders support you in that?
Good afternoon, everyone. Sir, I would give my input in a way that most of the work which goes into the chillers is basically to make them more and more energy efficient. So energy efficiency lies in the components which go into the chillers, right? So the best components should be chosen to make sure that the chillers, the way they are perform more efficient and are less and less harmful to the environment per se. So when we talk about any components, as Dr. Pahwa said, sir, that Mr. Pahwa said that actually a lot of research was done in all these countries around us to bring efficient compressor ranges. But we see in India, we do not have any manufacturer of compressor, right? So, for example, if I was given a magic wand, I would urge the government to maybe invest in such a facility in India where we bring a better technology than anybody who's working across the world and bring that technology for Indian conditions. Because I have always noticed, sir, that Indian conditions are always different from other country conditions, and people who are selling chillers in India are selling basically for their conditions, not our conditions. Our conditions should be the 4 point of any research and development we do. We should select the components for our ambient temperature, our water conditions, our electrical conditions, because these conditions are very, very different from other country conditions, and hence the research and development should be done in this forefront, sir.
That's a great point, is that we really need to focus on uh, so everybody's liking your response, and I think we should be majorly in clapping when we really like a response. So I think that's a very, very great point, that you need is a better supply chain, more efficient components, as well as the the design which are more suitable for India or Indian context. What do you think, if you want to really 2x increase your efficiency, other than components? What are do you think uh, you would try to commit from the industry, because there is always an acceptance that you would want a supply chain as an industry person? What would you be like? Would you contribute that? What are you willing to contribute to make that change?
So, sir, I personally think that when industry and academia, they, work hand in hand with each other, and maybe there is a brainstorming going on between both these institutes, there is something different which comes out of that brainstorming, which gives us a pathway or a roadmap to go forward and bring more efficient ranges to what we have brought right now. I mean, something different from a supply chain. The most important contributor, as we have noticed in this specific conference, is the refrigerants. So when we are brainstorming with academia, we understand that a lot of new refrigerants, specifically now a lot of work is also being done on CO2, sir. So such an input which comes after a lot of brainstorming can actually help us to take a lead forward and bringing more efficient chillers to the market.
Great, thank you. So with that refrigerant component, I want to bring Nishant Mathur in that discussion. So Nishant, Kshamaji has provided a perspective of MSME, where what I'm looking from you is more in the MNC's perspective, in terms of if you have a different products in different markets and there are different efficiencies. We have also heard that some of the efficiencies in other markets are higher than some of them in Indian market. So what would you need from, again, government, from academia, from industry, to actually first raise to the highest level, number one, and second, to actually leapfrog to the next technology? Where do you see are the barriers? What would you like to comment on that?
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. There are two ways to go about it, sir. First thing is there's something which is called as a glass ceiling, which is the top of products. Okay. So if I say that you're looking for a very high efficiency product, you'll have to have a little space for those products. Like if they're sitting above a glass ceiling, let's say you're looking for a product which is a 5-star product.
Little closer.
Okay, sorry. So if let's say you're looking at a product which is a 5-star product, any product more efficient than that would be still a 5-star product, right? So you need to find that space for that product where it can sit in comfortably and people to recognize that it's a more efficient product. And two things: you'll have to first actually introduce it so that it finds its recognition, and incentivize it. Like if I am to give you a machine that gives you a very high efficiency, your budget would still cause a constraint, right? So you'll go for a machine which is a 5-star machine, or a let's say ECSBC plus or super machine, right? That machine would still be dubbed as the same machine which is the lower efficiency than that comparably. Second thing is I've been experiencing it. I also see it. If I have to voice it, there's a lack of experimental research, right? So that experimental research, like let's say if I take an example of Purdue University, they've come up with something which is known as crescendo, which is a regenerative thing. Okay, so if a regenerative thing, and it has found its potential only up to 5%. It is on the stage of finding a better potential. It might not, but that's why we call it experimental research, right? Let's say the Berkeley University that came up with something which is known as ionocalorific cycle, right? Ionocalorific cycle. Then there are magnetocalorific cycles. Then there are thermoelectric calorific cycles. These all will help you find new avenues to get to new products. Like for our products, let's say chillers for an example, there are 4 to 5 components, right? And I can only do so much. Let's say heat exchangers. I can increase the size of heat exchanger only up to a certain level. Other than that, beyond it, it goes unfeasible. Let's say compressor as an example. Okay, if you're talking about 15 to 40 tons, you're limited to either a scroll compressor or a small screw compressor. Even if we develop, let's say, something like a mechanism wheel compressor, which is a screw compressor, you develop it and it will give you efficiencies which are groundbreaking. It can take you up to 8.2, 8.3, no problems, right? But the thing is the feasibility of that compressor at that particular capacity in an Indian market, you'll have to incentivize it, right? So then coming back to the refrigerant portfolio, let's say your new replacement for 134A is a 1234ZE refrigerant, right? Now 1234ZE when compared to 134A has drops in vapor densities and vapor pressures. If you input that refrigerant in today's condition, you're asking for a higher efficiency product, that won't come out because of lower vapor pressure densities, you'll have to move a lot of refrigerant. Now, when you're moving a lot of refrigerant, your condenser and evaporator, you'll have to oversize the compressor. There again, you have already lost the battle. Right? So my ask out of the academia is, improve on the experimental research so that we have somewhere we have some options to look at least. If I'm looking at options from outside of India. It's going to take time. 5 years, 10 years, it is going to take time. That's why you see that when we are shifting refrigerants also, it's causing a lot of trouble in our existing machines because we are again 3-4 years back. That's particularly the thing.
So that's great to hear that the recognition of the novel technologies would be an important incentive for the companies to actually think about the novel approaches and in bringing the innovative solutions, as well as some of the balancing of the you know climate challenges with the energy efficiency. There is always that trade-off that you'll have to work on. I would like to, keep open it for, for the audience. Before that, I'll have one question for you, Nishant. I know you are a session chair, but I'll ask you one quick question. What do you think is the role of ISHRE in this particular aspect, where they can help run these innovation challenges, some of the aspects? Where do you think ISHRE can contribute here?
So thanks, Dr. Yash. I think so. There's much that the society can do, and before we actually started the session, the inputs that Mr. Pahawa, in fact, we all keep on saying Doctor to you, sir, because of the knowledge that you carry in spite of not having that official degree. But he had summarized the key points which are missing in the industry, and I, as an industrialist, as an innovator, often have faced similar kinds of challenges. Not getting more into those details, but to sum it up, I believe society first has to open up the awareness amongst the mind of the users, the consultants, the contractors and the manufacturers, and of course the government department and academia, to have collaborative approach, to start thinking out of the box solution. Do not always innovate, understanding that today there is a requirement. Going forward, there would be times, and as again Pawaji said, that when he started in 1972, there was not that requirement that we see it today. So think ahead of its time. Having sessions like this, of course, assist to brainstorm each and every individuals, to bring more awareness to them is part one. Part two, very, very important, I believe, and I'm of the strong opinion that academia industry interface had been missing to the level where a product can come out on the grounds. When I see in Southeast Asian countries, each supplier, and Mr. Pao would agree with me, if I go to China, every company would have a tie-up with the local university and they'll come out with 5, 10, 15 new products, and all of them IP protected. I mean, today I know I have applied for a patent and I know the kind of pains it goes through, and we have so many other things to do. I mean, for an MSME, it is practically not doable. So the process has to be made in a way that things become much more, easier to be approached upon. So here, society at ISHRE, we have so many chapters in place. We have so many good technical minds in place, and we are connected with the industry as well. So need to bridge that gap. Probably in times to come, I'm sure Anupji is there and JKD is there, and future leadership would surely work upon it. But there's tremendous possibility of collaboration and coming out with the outcome which could be probably helpful for the times to come. And sessions like this, where innovations is being promoted, awards are being given, has to be done very, very frequently. That might help to take up things.
Yeah, Mr. Pao.
I just want to leave some few thoughts with you, especially since DST is here and ISHRE is here. Can ISHRE prepare a platform by which and through which we can be spokesperson, or a platform which can look at technologies which can go to DST and others say that we think we need to do more and somehow incentivize this. Now, incentivize doesn't mean always give them money. Please understand that. That's what I'm saying. But the word is incentivize. Today, if there is some carbon credit they can generate by one means or another, are we going to be able to give them some benefit for the carbon credit as they are tradable? I don't know. You have to think out of the box. So this is, I think all the industry will have many ideas. Once you throw it open to them, and if you're willing to listen, DSC can do a lot for the industry, and I would say you should prepare a platform. Many of you can take the lead in that today. How do we make this interface?
Yes, sure. I think DST is open, as Pawar sir mentioned, So we can always open to create such kind of things.
Excellent. So it seems like there is a lot of opportunity for everyone, for Ishre to work on, to academia to actually contribute. I have about 10 more minutes, 7, 8 more minutes. I'd like to open it up for 3, 4 audience questions before I close it. I request you to come to the mic, whoever wants to ask a question. I request you to be, crisp and target the question to a specific person so he can answer, and so that we can get as many questions as possible.
Can we ask the moderator itself? That's a direct question.
Sure.
Yeah. This answer can come from the industry, but I want to hear your opinion. You have handled global cooling price. Okay. So you've been part of global cooling price, and you have seen the results that came in. So what is in your opinion, if we give an opportunity, or if an opportunity is given to industry, are they willing to innovate and showcase their products which are more efficient and bring more innovations to the industry, to the sector?
Does anyone want to answer, or you want me to answer that?
It's a question to you. It's a question to you.
Okay, so from my experiences of the innovative competitions, including global cooling price, I think there is a tremendous uptake and a willingness from industry to bring the efficient products into the market, provided you provide them 3 things to them. One,
All between incremental improvement or disruptive improvement. Incremental improvement has less risk, and there are many possible funders and takers for that. If we want disruptive improvement, it may occur accidentally if you are lucky, but it may occur after 10 failures. Right. Today, the fact is, nobody is ready to fund a project which has high risk of failure. We also need to park some money for promoting an attempt which might fail.
great. I'll go to Mr. Tharkar wanted to say something.
First of all, let me congratulate this panel and track number 12. And I'm so happy that I've never seen a conference when we have this kind of presence, and that only shows the interest they have. And my question to Dr. Kole and to you, and you did a fantastic job by going global, awarding 2 winners for the global cooling prize. And we know the product, we know the technology. I want to understand from DST or from the association what initiative have gone in wherein we are able to commercially produce this unit, because that is where I feel the success of all such initiatives will go. I just want to understand if government is very keen to promote this product. Are there any initiatives happening from DST that the taxation becomes little attractive, so that ROI difference from between, say for instance, star 5 to star 3, we are finding that we started this journey from 2006, when star labeling started, we went to 2024. We have also upgraded our labeling standards. Currently, 15% production on unitary product, Daikin can correct me, is on star 3, or and 85% on star 3 and 15% only on star 5, because people are not finding ROI very attractive. So, and that is happening because even energy efficient products, there are no tax rebates. Is there anything happening from government? If you want, and you are very serious about decarbonization, how do you promote this energy efficient product? And what is that DST will do to ensure that people get encouraged for this?
So right now, as rightly said, actually DST has a clear-cut mandate. So we cannot go beyond the R&D. So now the global cooling prize, once the winner is come, so now the initiative is go, we have handed over to Bureau of Energy Efficiency. So they are looking after this, and I think they are actively working on it. So very soon you can see the result. So we are in touch with BE, but
Sir, I think you as an our spokespeople. Means you can inspire us and maybe industry does it. But if you really are serious, I think somewhere, some government bodies, we are all notary. Means हम तो ये बोल सकते हैं इशरे में किसी को समझा ही नहीं है. हम इतने सालों से काम कर रहे हैं. You are the first person and first department where you are sitting in our panel. We are very obliged. But how can this voice reach the government, and how can your finance departments and Department of Science can come to our rescue so that we can serve the humanity? That's the question.
Thank you, Mr. Daka. That's a. I request, I want to take a couple of questions. Do you want to respond to that?
Pankaj, you are on the right track, provoking some thought processes here, and I want to provoke everyone. You're on, every day you see Zomato, this, Baidu or whatever. How come there are no startups in HVAC industry? There's no one who's willing to put money in a startup in an HVAC industry. No venture capitalists who are willing to put in money. Why? Think about it. Why are they willing to go to any damn field but not to HVAC? Why are we receiving a stepmotherly treatment when we are saying that this is the energy guzzler? I think there has to be a very strong interface question between DST, Finance Ministry, BOU. Don't pass the buck. Let's all sit down together and ask us, why is it not happening here? And yet this is the challenge.
Okay.
Yes.
Harker spoke about industry. I would talk about academia directly to Yash and Dr. Jyotirmay Mathur. We have discussed this at length as past student chair also. And I am also currently VP for Education and Research. Today I see a message on WhatsApp that we have research topics which students have come forward which have won competitions. And there are no academic institutions which are willing to take up the research forward. Why are we in this situation today? And today we are sitting and talking about innovation. What has been developed with a small scale, why can't it reach the larger masses? And how, even DST is here, DST with maybe AICTE and ISRE as a society together, can we not work together and see how we can develop this industry and take it to the next level? That's my thought.
Thank you. Professor Mathur, you want to? Yeah.
Because sir asked that question, I'd like to pinpoint an example here. The semiconductor research. You look at it, we are using silicon, right? Few believe the research for a gallium nitride based chip started in India, and it was a project. It never came to fruition, possibly because it did not find funding. Second, there was a condenser, extremely good. It was dubbed under the name Vulcan. It never saw sunlight because of the funding issues and all of that. And I'm just bringing that point here because gallium nitride, when the Western world is moving to it, gallium nitride for semiconductors, India already had that research. But we still use silicon based. Our switching frequencies are lower, our efficiencies are lower, our heat dissipation is very high, and the life also is lower.
Great point. So, Professor Mathur, you want to answer that?
I think the point is absolutely correct. And so, first issue is that most of the time there are no problem statements coming from industry. So, if problem statements are there, when I was research chair and Yash, you were research chair, and now Roshni is doing that, we've been asking industry, please give us research statements which can be funded, because ISRE has fortunately kept a significant amount of money for funding that research. So A, the problem statements were not coming very openly. B, when problem statements were coming, frankly speaking, we were not finding enough people to take away those projects. And then, but with whatever projects we took up, I think there has been significant delivery. For example, the fouling project of AHU, coils and all that. Yes. We are moving, yes. That's
Why
right.
are we not moving forward in that direction? Maybe have each year, let's select 2 projects and see how it can be implemented in the industry
Exactly.
towards achieving
That is the way. how things should happen. So we need to have a strategy to promote. Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
want to highlight those several things here. I think one thing from being in academia, I see there is a core research, and there is a research management, and there is a research sustenance that needs to happen. And so we are in a way need of an infrastructure and an ecosystem to actually help develop seeds of research or seeds of new product to a level of TRL 5 or 7 to actually take it forward. Without that, there may be some of these, individual brilliances.
Yes, I have a difference of opinion. Don't pressurize academia to give you a product which is beyond TRL 5.
Yeah.
If a proof of concept is there, that is good enough as an outcome from academic institution. If you do so, more people would come forward for converting the ideas into research. If you pressurize them for taking to TRL 7 or 8 or higher, probably people would step back and don't take it up, that challenge. But proof of concept as an outcome from academic institutions should be good enough.
Yeah, but absolutely. And I think there is a consistency that we need to have the infrastructure and ecosystem to actually convert those proof of concept to all the way. Mr. Pava, I would like you to close this and then go to Nishant, because then moderator would like me to.
I just want to leave another thought with you. Maybe I'm taking an example of our company. We have two flagship companies, DRI and Briar. Between the two of us, our export turnover is about 50%. But 70% or 75% of our profits come from the export turnover. Today, I encourage every one of you to look outside India. Every bit that you export outside India is going to get you better margins and will support your ability to do a lot more in all of these areas of research, development, and improvement. So go out and look outside India. Let's not look at India as being a big market, or we have to fight a licensee or who's come from all over the world and they are producing their overwhelm us. The day we start looking at we have to export, we have to go out and sell, you will be seeing the opportunities that the world has for you.
Thank you, Mr. Pava. That's a great message to end the session. Thank you again to all the audience to be here on the last session. When I know many of you have flights very soon. Thank you to the panelists for providing really some thought-provoking thoughts, especially Mr. Pava for inspiring keynote address, and then I hand it over to Nishant to summarize the session and close the session.
Thank you, Dr. Yash, and thank you for being a wonderful audience. I must congratulate each one of you who've probably even skipped your lunches and stayed here for the entire duration. As we come to the conclusion of this wonderful conference, Cool Conclave, with the icing on the cake as the last panel discussion, I'd like to summarize, which I said was almost done in the opening remarks by Mr. Pava. He rightly said Rome wasn't built in a day. He started his journey back in 1972, where he thought upon the subjects which was probably not relevant at that point of time. Had he started thinking like a regular businessman or a trader, that I'd only like to develop a product or sell a product which has a profitability from day one, probably he would not have reached the point where he is today. So it's up to us as a manufacturer, as a contractor, or as a developer, to start thinking upon something which is probably not meant in terms of today's requirement immediately, but you're looking forward for times to come and see that how improvement can happen in the future times. Do not limit ourselves onto the market which is being visible to everybody today, but even think about exports, as he rightly mentioned, and makes sense in terms of commercial ideas, also supports the government initiative of Make in India. Well, to do that, it's not an easy task. First thing is that we bring awareness amongst ourselves. That is what we've done today. The second step is to ensure that the product is being developed by choosing the right components. Shamaji just mentioned, have that a complete array of chain supply that has to start thinking in those lines that can bring really change into the end products. Once the product is ready, it is important to have a test facility, and that's where maybe DST can also support to have a relevant test facility, not only to validate the performance, but also to ensure that the packaging and the documentation is right. Whenever you buy a product internationally, they are equally important when you compare it to the products which are made in India. IP rights, very, very important. I'm not very sure, but definitely DST or somebody from Government of India need to really think that how this has to be made much more relevant, easy in terms of approach, and how it can be taken forward. Because once you've spent hours of your energy as well as man hours of your knowledge, how do you protect that and take the world in the direction that you would like to take it forward? Education institutes have tremendous role to play. That's where I believe ISHRE has a goal to be taken up, and in times to come, I see that Mr. Madhukar is here and Anoopji is here. Surely we can be one of the catalysts. We have so many student chapters. We can identify the resources which are available in various institutes and provide a linkage to all the industry to give their problem statement. We have dwelled upon this thought. The problem is that the industry is not willing to open up their problem statement openly. That's where only the institutes can give their strength, and the relevant industries can directly get in touch and take the things forward. Collaboration is something which is very, very important, and sir said that know why it is required. That's where incentive, R&D from government and tax benefits can also come. And lastly, if not the first, but DST, B, AICT, Finance and ISHRE maybe can have a small ad hoc committee where not only the institutes come onto the picture, the new engineers which are coming up are getting geared up. When we see this as one of the important aspects where energy is important and air conditioning is playing a big role, how do we have engineers coming out from the institutes which are really ready to be served in the industry and take the things forward along with the government and the society. So with this, I'll wrap it up, and thank you each one of you and the panelists and the moderator. It was a pleasure to be part of this.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Nishanji. I would now request you to please felicitate the moderator of this panel, Dr. Yash Shukla.
You can clap, I guess.
No, I am not tired. Maybe I missed something. I could not understand, but yeah. Next, please felicitate Mrs. Kshama Jain. So because we had, certain dropouts on our panel, so the names might differ. We will change it. But madam, for the photograph, you can take that memento for now, for time being, please. Mr. Nishant Mathur. Dr. Pradyot Kole. And Dr. Jyotirmay Mathur. I would request Mr. MP Agarwal to please come on stage. Sir, kindly felicitate Mr. Deepak Pava, the keynote speaker of the panel. Sir, we thank you so much to take out time from your schedule and be present over here. Agarwal sir, please also felicitate our session chair, Mr. Nishant Gupta. May I please ask all the panelists to get together for a group photo?